Hello everyone. Welcome to the first episode of Mains Margadarshan. Now the Mains 2024 season is about to begin and the most common question is about which is the best pen for your writing, because mains answer writing involves a lot of hard work with respect to answer writing. It is important to address this question before anything else, and that is why we are discussing this in the episode 1 of mains Margadarshan. Now this will be a scientific answer. I have explained already in the introduction video about how mains Margadarshan is all about removing misguidance and giving you a proper scientific answer so that you can excel in your exam preparation. All right, so let's move forward to the next slide. What are the things that will affect your writing? One is the shape of the pen. Second is the weight distribution or the center of gravity of the pen, which means where will the balance point lie in the pen. Next is ink flow technology. How will the ink flow? And what is the kind of ink that is used in the pen? Next is the nib size. That will also determine your handwriting and font weight, etc. The last one is the type of grip, so that it will help you to write in a very comfortable way. Why? Because you'll be writing continuously for 3 hours in one session and probably for 6 hours in one day, and continuously you'll be writing 6 plus 6 12 plus 3, you'll be writing 15 hours in the 3 days, which is for essay GS1 1 to 4, you'll be writing totally 15 hours in 3 days. So that is a lot of writing. So that is why we need to consider all these things. We'll try to figure out what is the best pen for you. Shape of the pen. You can find 3 basic shapes in the market. By shape, I mean the shape of the body of the pen. Body. One is the triangular body. Other is the hectagonal or triangle, and the most common one is the circular. Now we may all think this one is correct or this one is correct. I use this and this pen in the exam hall, and that is why it may work for you also. No, answer is not that simple. It cannot be somebody's personal opinion. It has to be scientific. Now for that itself, I went through this article. It is a qualitative research done in Mysuru University probably. So what it says is, triangle shape of the pen was observed to be the most convenient than any other shape of the pen, which means that the body of the pen is triangular like this. When you hold with 3 fingers, the all the 3 fingers will sit properly in the triangular grip or the body. So this is what the research says. Now it is for you to try out these pens and try to figure out what is the best one for you. An example of this is the Flare pen here, Flare SRX something. You can just Google or search on Amazon with triangular body pen, you will get it. And similarly, there are so many pens with this octagonal or hexagonal or sorry, hexagonal. I said hectagonal. So I'm really sorry for that. I said hexagonal shaped body. Now I think Reynolds 045 is one such pen. You can try to find out other pens. There are other pens you can find out on Amazon or Google. And the circular shaped body is, there are so many bodies like this. I mean, almost every pen comes in a circular shape. You can choose whatever is the best. My point is, try to write with all these things and see whether this research is correct or not. Right? They have done some research and this was observed. So this gives you some kind of scientific input for you, that probably you may try to go to a triangular pen, probably because you are writing for a long time. So shape of the pen will help you you know improve your writing in this way. Next, weight distribution or center of gravity of the pen. Center of gravity is the balance point of an object, where if you place it on a point like this, it will get balanced. It is the point where mass of the body is concentrated. Now, for most pens, it will be somewhere in the middle, for most pens. But for some pen, it will be a little behind or it will be a little forward. Now, based on the design or the shape, or of the body, you decide which one is the best for you. You can decide only when you write. Why? What happens is some people like a little bit of weight in the behind. What happens is if there is weight behind, people who have heavy handed writing, which means they put a lot of pressure on the paper and write, if there is a little bit of weight behind, then it will remove the pressure in the opposite side so that they can write by removing a little bit of pressure on the paper. So you can try and see that. For some people who want to write with a very dark font, probably they might look for a center of gravity which is little forward. So you can try to figure out what is the best one for you. There is no single one, it depends on what kind of writing yours is. Another simple way, if for every pen the center of gravity is almost in the middle, but if you want to shift it back, you don't need to change the pen. The easiest way is just put the cap behind, pen cap behind, it will shift the weight behind, so that makes it a little heavier on the back side. Understood? So if you want to not have a heavy pen or just have it balanced in the middle, then do not use this pen cap. A lot of people use pen cap. Do it only when you have heavy handed writing where you want to put some kind of weight behind so that you don't put that much of pressure. Whereas if you want to just have a balanced writing, just normal writing, then do not put pen cap and use a center of gravity which is in the middle. So I hope you understood how weight distribution impacts your writing. Now coming to the ink flow technology. Now there are basically four major types: ballpoint pen, gel pen, roller ball pen, and ink or fountain pen. Now all these things have different use cases. Ballpoint pen has oil based ink which is highly viscous in comparison to others. That is why you feel that this pen is not as easy to glide as other pens. It will have some kind of friction in comparison to these pens, and that is why this is ballpoint pen and it has oil based ink. Now in gel pen, it is water based gel ink. It is slightly better in terms of friction, it is moderately viscous, but again this some people use it. Why? Because they neither want a pen which freely glides and neither want a pen which has lot of friction. So this is the middle path for them. For such people, this is the answer. Roller ball pen, it almost glides freely. It has water based dye ink. Both of them, the fountain pen and roller ball pen, have a similar ink when you consider the technology, and it has low viscosity, and that is why the ink will be able to flow very freely. Roller ball pen is like a ballpoint pen. It will have refills, etc. But only the difference is that the ink will be having low viscosity, because of which you will have almost a frictionless writing experience. So for people who have slow handwriting speed, etc., such people can use this. Now I'll explain that too in detail, but I'm just telling you how different pen have different use cases. Now ink or fountain pen, this has the least friction, but it has high maintenance, and it is also a kind of risky if you use in the exam hall. If ink spills, etc., and then you make a mess of it on the paper, then it may be a difficult thing. So I have just mentioned here just to explain you the variety. Please almost do not consider ink pens for this exam because you may spill it. So do not consider ink pen, right? Even though it offers you the best writing experience, in my opinion, please do not consider this pen. Next, I'm talking about the pressure. Need to insert certain pressure on the nib to write. If you don't insert pressure, then the font color will not be dark. It will be lighter in comparison to these two. So that is why you need to insert a little bit of pressure, and that pressure may decrease writing speed for some people. This gel pen, comparatively less pressure. Ruler ball pen, you almost don't need to put any pressure, it just glides. And when you consider the prices, both ballpoint pen and gel pen are very cheap. Ruler ball and ink pen are, comparatively costly. They start from a few hundreds to can go to a few thousand. So only if you need these, you can consider these things. So it depends on the use case. Now let's move to the next slide. Nib size. Now this is the nib. It will help you to get a control over your writing strokes, and also control ink smearing. And also it determines how much pressure you put on the paper. What happens is, when you put a lot of pressure on the paper, sometimes the paper might get teared. A lot of people have this problem. So what you can do is, if you use a very thin nib like 0.5 mm, then if you put that pressure, then the paper will get damaged. So for such people, they have to consider bigger nibs, right? So that is why this is a very fine nib which has like the handwriting will be very sharp, in the sense you will be able to see in a very clear way the strokes, the lines, etc. of the handwriting. But these things, the strokes will be a little thicker and this will be very thick. So choose among these two, 0.5 and 0.7 mm. I'll explain which one you have to choose in the next slide. But these are the two varieties, 0.5 mm and 0.7 mm. And those who have like heavy handed writing, who write with a lot of pressure and who smear ink, etc., they should probably sorry, those who write with a lot of pressure, they have to use some 0.7 mm. And those who have control over writing, those who have less control over writing strokes and have ink smearing, smudging issues, you have to use 0.5 mm. I'll explain more in detail in the next slide, but I'm trying to tell you how ink nib size should be different for different people. Type of grip. Now this is a rubber grip. Rubber. Now this is a metal body grip, metal, and this is a plastic grip. Whatever suits your case. I mean, it's different for different people. I mean, see if your hands get sweaty when you write, or if metal grip is fine for you, if you like that feeling, because writing is also a lot about confidence. It is confidence and feeling. It is not just about what weapon you have. It is also about how you feel about using this weapon. Ergonomics matter a lot when it comes to having your weapon for the mains exam. So some people may use this. If you like the pen and if you don't have a rubber grip, try to use rubber bands like this, or etc., or whatever it is. Just make sure you understand what you have to do, I mean, based on your writing style. Now let me come to the final slide, where I am going to suggest you the pens, about which one will be the best pen for you. Now case number 1, if you have heavy handed writing where you put a lot of pressure on the paper, and you have these issues where you have slow handwriting, or you just put a lot of pressure and write in the exam hall, and you have the tendency to damage the paper, then 0.7 mm nib is the one for you. You should look for this nib whenever you purchase any pen. Center of gravity should be behind the middle point, as I explained in the earlier slide. And the pen for you should be gel or roller ball. Why? Because when you write with heavy handed approach, you will encounter a lot of friction while writing, which will reduce your speed. So that is why you have to choose gel or roller ball, which will reduce the ink flow friction and therefore will give you better writing speed. So anyone having this issue should consider gel or roller ball pen. This is your pen that you have to use. See which pen will be the best one for you. Also remember, you have to consider the shape of the pen also. Go to the market and see which one is the best pen for you. There is no single best pen. All right. Also, availability matters a lot. Availability, whether it is available freely in your local market. Like you may think some pen is best, but if it is not available in your local market, then you will not be able to purchase it frequently, and it will cause a lot of issues for you during your main answer writing practice. So all these things will be a trade-off. It should be available, it should be within your budget, and then you have to take care of these three things. Understood? For heavy handwriting. Now if you have issue of ink smearing or smudge issues where while writing a lot of ink gets here and there, then 0.5 mm nib is the one for you. It will reduce the amount of ink that flows on the paper while you are doing particular strokes, etc. So it will give you a very sharp writing. So, and the center of gravity should be near the middle point, which means it should be balanced at the middle, so that you don't put a lot of pressure while writing. Understood? And I think you should go with ballpoint pen. Why? Because in gel or roller ball you will have the tendency to smear the ink. Why? Because ink flows more freely. So ballpoint pen, there the ink is highly viscous, so the chances of ink smearing or smudges will reduce. So that's why you should go with the ballpoint pen with 0.5 mm nib, and center of gravity should be near the middle point. Now, normal cursive writing for people who write with a cursive handwriting, 0.5 mm will be the best one. Why? Because when you have this cursive strokes like SUN, or just write my name Abhishek, etc. Now you see the strokes will overlap. When these strokes will overlap over each other alphabet, uh, font if the font or the line thickness is very fine, then the writing will be clear and legible. Otherwise, what will happen is if you use a thicker nib, the writing won't be clear and legible. So, and again, the center of gravity should be near the middle point, and you can choose anything between gel or ballpoint pen depending on your comfort level. Why I'm not suggesting roller ball here is because you will probably not get a very sharp writing by using roller ball. Understood? Now next is the slow writing issue. Now if you have slow writing issue, then you should definitely have a thicker nib. Why? Because it will reduce friction. Why? Not reduce friction in terms of the area that you encounter while writing, but simply because more pointed nib tends to be like it encounters more friction. The more sharper the nib is, it encounters more friction while writing. Whereas if the ink is a little bit bigger, then you will have more surface area for the ink to flow and glide. So this becomes much better when you can use both the pens, and see this becomes much better for slow writing people. And then again, center of gravity should be the middle point, and you can use either gel or roller ball, because both of them give you the frictionless writing. Gel for moderately and uh, moderate to viscous, and rollerball for low viscosity. So you can consider these things. Now this is just a very basic approach. Now some of you may have different issues together, like for example you may have this and this issue together. Now what should you do? In that case you have to trade off, which means you have to give priority to one over other things, so that you can ultimately solve the issue. There can be no perfect solutions, but there can be only practical solutions. For example, now if you have heavy handed writing, if you also have smudging or smearing issues, and if you also have slow handwriting, then you'll be conflicting, so you'll be having a dilemma between choosing this or this nib, right? What you can do is, in that case, you can use this nib and try to find out whether there is a roller ball pen or a gel pen with this nib size. So in that case, that will solve you. So this chart is a basic guide. Again, you have to see what are your issues. Based on that, you have to see. Again, I am trying to tell you, please do not fall into these opinion that Pilot is the best pen, or Uniball is the best pen, Uniball is the best pen, or so many new brands have come up, etc. That I passed exam with this and this pen, so that is why this pen is the best one for me. No, it is not. Right? Please understand, these are personal opinions. You have to approach any problem with a scientific view. I have given inputs to the best of my capabilities, so consider all those factors. Consider budget, availability, and then decide what is the best pen for you. That will be the best pen for you. What pen others cleared, that is not the case. Why? Because I'll tell you my own experience. Everybody said that Pilot V7 is the best pen. Like, so many people, you see any UPSC blog, they'll say Pilot is the best pen, Pilot is the best pen. And like any fool, I use that same pen for my earlier mains. And when I went to the exam hall with that nib, I had so much of friction issues. So much of friction issues. My handwriting took a toll, my speed took a toll. I was very unsatisfied with this. So that is why I'm saying, just do not believe people blindly. Then I switched to, based on my handwriting style, I switched to something called as Pentel Energel. It solved my issues to a certain extent. Again, that is not still the best pen for me, but it solved to a certain extent. So that is why I'm telling you, choose the one best for you. Don't listen to other people. Listen to your problems. Whom should you listen? You have to listen to your own problems. Listen to your problems. Listen to your problems and decide based on what is given here. Refer this whole chart, and based on this, decide what's the best one for you. You also have other inputs here. Based on all these factors, decide what is the best pen for you. I hope this has answered you one of the most common questions, yet one of the most confusing questions, which yield confusing answers. So everyone will tell you different things. So find the answer best for you and begin your answer writing. From the next episode, we'll try to solve more and more um, things about the mains preparation. And I hope this has solved the question that you have been holding from a long time to a certain extent. See you again in the next video.